Hi everyone, my name is Paige Cappell and this is my PowerPoint assignment / oral presentation for business development. The prompt that I chose talked about human resources and whether or not human resources is beneficial more towards the employer or the employee, and that is what I'm going to be discussing in my presentation today. So here's the first slide. What is the role of human resources in a company? So let's start off with just the basics. What is human resources or HR? Human resources is most closely defined as the division of a business that is charged with finding, screening, recruiting, and training job applicants, as well as administering employee benefit programs. HR also acts as a liaison between a company's management and its employees. So HR does a lot of the behind-the-scenes things that make sure a company runs well. They want to make sure that everyone's happy, all the employees are happy, because happy employees makes the business run better and it makes employees want to work and to make money. So this graphic right here in the bottom of the screen we see has all the different parts of a human resources department. They oversee all of these things: the goals, the training, the benefits, all of that. Talent is essentially just employees. All of these things can fall under the human resources department in a company. In this next slide, we have a more in-depth breakdown of the HR department. We have first compensation and benefits. A compensation department of HR, sector of HR, sets pay ranges, determines benefits, manages financial programs, and this sector does a lot with money for the company in terms of who gets paid what are the insurance benefits, why employees want to work there, and the better the compensation and benefits are, the more employees have an incentive to work at your company. So you want your HR department to be pretty strong with compensation and benefits. Next is recruiting and staffing. So HR also recruits talent or employees. And under this sector, we have that this department will market the company to potential employees, and they just will, this marketing the company to the potential employees means that they're going to make the company look as good as they possibly can to a potential employee, because they want the employee obviously to want to join their company and to want to work there. So they're going to make the company look as smooth as possible. And onboarding is the transition period for a new employee joining a company. It's like the training and everything that they do to start working at the company and get completely comfortable. So they deal with that. They also do talent sourcing, draft and post job descriptions. So they'll go on to whatever site that that they're posting their job postings on, whether that's LinkedIn or another site, and post those jobs. Next, we have training and development. They will train new employees and train employees for safety things. If you need safety training, they'll do that. But mostly it is to train them on anything that they need for their specific job, whether that's technology, new tools, or new technology. And a lot of companies are actually starting to do team bonding as something under training and development to really make the company be cohesive and a strong unit. They also develop soft skill developments, which is the company is helping to train their employees with skills like teamwork, leadership, communication, things like that, things that aren't technical. Next, we have safety and compliance. This department will provide required safety training, similar to training and development, but more focused on safety training. We see this with construction companies and things that are very or have a lot of opportunity for liability for the company. We want to see that the employees are monitored and that they have all of the licenses that they need, which the HR department will control, and they will make sure that the company complies with all federal and state laws and regulations within like the safety realm. Lastly, we have talent management. This department just enforces company policies, strengthens employee and employee relationships, and is the overarching branch of HR. So they kind of control all of these smaller parts and are the head of the human resources department. Here we have some examples of human resources being used by major companies. The first company that I'm going to discuss is Google. So Google hired some researchers to conduct a study that the goal was to determine what their employees liked in a manager. So they went through and they interviewed and surveyed thousands of their employees, and they took all the results of what all the employees liked most in a manager, and they narrowed it down to 8 common characteristics that were seen most throughout the survey. And Google took that information and they began to train the rest of their managers to exhibit those 8 behaviors. The study and the training of the managers to focus on these 8 characteristics led to an increase in performance and employee satisfaction. The next business is Cisco. So Cisco developed the Talent Cloud, which is essentially like an internal LinkedIn, and I also mentioned that later in the paragraph, that this cloud acts as an internal customer relationship manager / management, where managers can view the experiences and skills of their almost 100,000 employees. So you can post all of your skills, everything that you've done, jobs, everything like that, projects that you've been on, and everyone in the company can view this. And so employees can compare themselves to other employees and say, hey, you know, this employee has this job that I want, and this is what they did to get there. I'm going to do that. And it just helps advance their careers, and it also helps managers view results of projects and their performance teams, and it can help them analyze data as well. Lastly, we have Hilton, the company / Hilton Hotels. They use 2 quantitative methods to keep their company standard and culture. The first thing that they do is the balanced scorecard, which tracks information like customer loyalty, revenue maximization, employee satisfaction, and diversity, so their employees can see just how impactful their own performance is and how directly their performance can affect the company. Lastly, a team will survey everyone in the company annually, and it's not just the North American side of things, it's globally, to measure things like pride, morale, and leadership within a company. And every year they take those results and they find out what worked well and they find out what didn't work well, and they plan their following or coming year off of those results. So what does an HR department want to avoid? These are some things that an HR department should not do, and that these are big red flags. If an HR company or an HR department in your company are doing these things, probably, I don't know, look for another job or just, I don't know. But these are big red flags. So first, if employees cannot access their personal data, like all the data is too secure, that's a big red flag. Vague job descriptions lead to inefficiency and overall confusion, because if they post a really vague job description and someone gets the job, and then the person that got that job is not doing what the company needs, but that person didn't even know what they were supposed to be doing because the job description was so vague, and it led to a lot of wiggle room and a lot of errors. So then they hire this person that isn't doing their job, but it's not necessarily that person's fault because HR didn't really describe what they needed that person to do. Losing high performance employees or low yield rates, like keeping people into the company, is a big red flag. If people are leaving and they're not being able to keep the people that are performing the best at their company, that's a big red flag. Avoidance of technology. So this is like if a company doesn't want to have a lot of computers or try to keep up with the ever-changing technology culture that we live in, that's a big red flag, because we live in a modern society and it is very hard to run a business with everything being on paper and not using computers for files and all of that stuff. Okay, so this is the final part of the prompt, and this is, who does HR really help? Do they help more the employees or the employers? So I read a lot of different articles, and the common consensus that I found is that HR is created to help the company. Oh, sorry, I see that there's an error in here. The department is designed to help the employer, which directly benefits the employee as well. Sorry for that. But human resources, like I said earlier in the presentation, is trying to make the company run smoothly, and they do all the behind the scenes things. And when they do that, they're helping the company make money. And that's all a company is made for, is to make money. So, by helping the company run as smoothly as possible and aid in productivity and performance, they are actively helping the company achieve their personal goals and to make money. Also, by creating a place that employees want to work with good benefits, trainings, and good HR goals, in turn, it is helping it to create a company that runs flawlessly and is very profitable and makes a lot of money. And this is just all of my sources from my presentation, because I took a lot of different websites and things to get my information. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I hope that you were able to learn something new about an HR department in a company, and to see maybe what you want to start looking for in an HR department. And I also, I included things that you don't want to see in an HR department because, you might not know. I didn't know before this presentation that there are some big red flags that just show that a company is not running smoothly, and it's a little bit shady if they're doing these things. So those are just things to avoid. Thank you for listening.